Hey everyone, in this video we're featuring Era 3 Western Alliance heavy tank MBT70. I didn't really play this tank much when it first came out, and I had it on rental, but I didn't really play it because I thought it's a pretty bad tank. We're considering its low pen. It has the lowest pen in Era 3 and has no armor. It's a heavy tank and it has no armor, so I didn't really find it as lucrative. But I've been recently started playing it, and now it also has a secondary gun. It didn't have the multi-weapon system before. It only had the primary gun, but it got its secondary gun, and this tank is pretty fun now. And not to mention, it's a very, very decent silver maker as well. Probably one of the best, at least for me. And I'll tell you why. First, because this premium shell is heat, you only end up firing standard shells. You're always making the maximum silver when it comes to firing shell. It has ATGM, very, very strong ATGM, at least when, in my experience when using it. I like the way the ATGM handles on this tank. I struggle to pen the ATGM in Weasel, but for some reason on this tank I seem to hit them. I still don't understand the whole ATGM, like why I'm doing better in ATGM in this tank considering to Weasels. And then also it's a bottom tier tank, so whenever you're in Era 3 you'll always be bottom tier. Not really a positive, but you'll be fighting against equal tiers or most of the time higher tier tanks. You get that extra bonus. It does have 55% silver bonus. There are other tanks like Jaguar and Weasel that has more, but this tank, for me, if someone who don't like missiles that much, it's easier to do consistently high damage. It's also a fun tank because since you're a bad pen, I kind of feel always happy whenever I pen someone. But these days there are a lot of lightly armored tanks, and you can see like I pen that AMX-40, right? It's a medium, and then I can just dump my clip using the secondary gun. The first gun has decent DPM as well if you can connect your shots. But with the help of secondary gun, if there's any medium or even like a Weasel that tries to push me, he might pen me. But then I make sure that I do more damage to him in return. The gun handling is decent. The alpha is decent, so you don't have to expose yourself as much. We do have better tanks when it comes to alpha now, especially Leopard 292 and 477. Those are all mid-tier or top tier tanks, but this is the only one that has this alpha and is a bottom tier tank. But I like its playstyle. Like I can still not expose myself that much as the aim time is good, so I barely peek, and I can then pen the tank without taking much damage in return, as it does have decent gun depression. So that was my first ATGM. It hits for 1100, and I was pretty happy with that. MBT70 is retreating, put another ATGM into it, almost 1100, and then started dumping my clip with the secondary gun. He kind of fell. I'm at 7,000 damage. Missed my ATGM. So because it's kind of such a bad tank, right? Even if you do 10,000 damage, you make a lot of silver, and that's what happened like in this game. And you'll see, even after the Cold War economy nerf or silver economy changes, I still feel the silver earning is a little bit too much considering how much you make just with this amount of damage, because they have more HP available in Era 3, and the more damage you do, right, you have more opportunity of doing more damage essentially. So you kind of end up making more silver. Another ATGM onto the side of M1A2, and now I'm at 8,000 damage. The tank just feels nice. Like I bought it when it was 50% off. But if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be available for trade-in next week. I'm not personally a fan of trade-in because I feel it's better to just buy a tank at 50% off rather than losing a tank. But if there is a tank you'd never play or never plan to play, you might want to consider this tank. As I said, it's not one of the broken tanks though. It does not have armor, it does not have pen, it does not have camo. But it does have the fun factor. fun factor of doing better when you are in a bad tank. Not really a plus point. So 292 pushes me, did manage to pen. Try to aim at him. As I said, this is where like the decent gun handling comes into handy. Set him on fire and was able to hit 11k mark. Another thing to notice is this tank has the shell velocity is lowest compared to Era 3. Usually tanks have 1500, 1600, and the bigger guns or higher alpha guns have 2000. This tank only has 14 something meter per second shell velocity. So lower, but you can still make it work. And we'll see the result, how much silver I made. Again, post Cold War silver economy changes. I did 11,666 damage. And made 700 plus silver. I think if you're still making 500k plus silver, it's a little bit too much. I am using ×2 silver boost, and of course I have finished the season, so I do have that silver bonus from season end as well. So the next battle, I'm again in Halfway Pass. The other side though. I prefer the spawn we had on the first game, even in World War II, but as you have more angles. But this time I was not so lucky. Spawned on the other side. I try to go in the middle. Sometimes I go on the right side 90 line. Doesn't have much luck as you're waiting for pixel shots if enemy is not peeking, and then sometimes they're on 7-8 line and I don't really have much shots there as well. So still exploring on this side what's the best angle, and basically decided to just follow my team wherever they're going. Our Weasel's going on the right side, so we kind of made sure there's not really many tanks over on that side. So I decided to get a bit aggressive and use my teammates for me shield, as they are pushing on the left side as well. The key thing in Cold War is you always have to push with the team. If there's a 477 in your team, just follow him. Like, he'll win you the game. You can, because they'll focus him, they won't pen him, and it'll stay along for a very long time, right? So even like a bad 477 player, you should just go with him, because he'll survive way longer, and then you'll be able to do a decent amount of damage. I kind of pushed in a very aggressive position. 292 pushed, and his first shot set me on fire, and the Weasel just ammo-wrecked Merkava. I was kind of sad that I got set on fire on the first shot. However, Merkava got ammo-wrecked by Weasel. I was trying to shoot 292, just realized there's a Weasel just hiding in front of me. Sneaky Weasel. And of course then he threw smoke. Another thing that I don't like, you want to kill a tank and then they throw smoke, and basically now you are waiting for 30 seconds. I don't like smoke, just because it like kind of slows down, right? It kind of makes your team overcommit sometimes, and you drive into too many guns. I think they need to change at least the passive camo of smoke. They can keep the smoke the way it is, even though I don't like it, but they should change the passive camo bonus it gets for tanks. So 2200 damage, down to 1900 HP. And I can't really pen these tanks like the BU. I can't really pen its turret. However, I do notice that some of the red team is sideways, and that is opportunity you want to look for in this tank, right? Because you have that alpha, and you can really dump damage. And you can also, in some tanks, you can pen their side with the minigun. I tried shooting AMX40. But couldn't really connect. I think if I was closer, I could have penned him. Might not have been hitting the targets because of the distance. AMX40 is dead, and now another tank, Thumper, is on the side. This time, I do manage to track him, which helped me to start dumping my clip, or actually penning with a machine gun. It doesn't have big clip in its machine gun if you compare it with 477, but this tank kind of has everything when it comes to gun, right? It has like higher alpha with the regular shells, then it has ATGMs, and then it has minigun as well. I think it's the only heavy that has minigun. We have some medium that have the secondary weapon, but this is the only heavy that has the secondary gun, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and then of course we have the light tanks. at 7400 damage. Our team is losing 6-9. Merkava is pushing. I kind of rushed my shot here and missed. You have to make sure you really, make your shots count, especially when it's the side, because if they start facing you, you might not be able to pen them that reliably. Or if they start facing you, didn't even pen my minigun that effectively, bounced a lot of these shots, and as a result, right, if I'd penned my first shot, or actually penned with the minigun, I would have saved my teammate, who's now dead. Finished with the machine gun, scores 4-7 at 9,000 damage again, and MX32 was charging towards me. Whenever I see an MBT, I want to shoot him, because the tank doesn't have really armor, doesn't have pen, and if I can get hull down, I can just farm him. I do manage to track him with the first shell, and then manage to pen most of my shots with the minigun. It's very satisfying to, when you just clip an enemy with your machine guns, and it doesn't have the pen enough pen to pen them head on, but when you get the sides or the rear of the tanks, one of the very satisfying feelings in the game. I decided to retreat because they know my last location. However, I don't really go too far. Vishaw was following me, end up dying. It is 1v5. I am at a decent health considering the only shot I took was the one that set me on fire, but didn't take any shots after. Challenger gets spotted, but I think I'm on the other side because that's what you would assume. Trying to hide behind the bush. I was thinking maybe if I can hide there, they'll come one at a time and I can maybe rotate and then, but however, this leopard 2 spots me. Try to shoot him and I missed. There's another heavy behind. Leopard tracks me. I thought I'll just push forward as it's a matter of time before I die. That heavy actually shot a missile. MX40 dies, and then the Challenger rammed into me, giving me a little bit extra damage before BU eventually finished me off. If I, gone a little bit of better position, I think I could have done 13 or 14k damage and would have made even more silver, but nonetheless, still made 750,000. Very, very decent. I still think silver should be reduced for Cold War. So I like that tank. It's a fun tank. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.